Graceful amber window.
Hi, welcome to One Spot Stitch Nook and my desk where the creativity happens. So we are going to do the third in my series for the Jasmine set. This is going to be, let me see, I have one of the versions, the cowl. So you see it's going to be a long rectangle, sort of short scarf essentially, and then you twist it and connect it like so. And you see the pretty pattern in it like so. So we're going to do that with this colorway to match the rest of the series we've been doing. And so you're going to want about 3 colors. Like in this example, you can see I have 4 colors. I have the green, brown, main color, and then the yellow. But in the pink version, I just have 3 colors. So up to you. You're going to want your main color, and then your 2 sort of trim colors or 3 trim colors if you want to add extra color, or of course as many as you want. Also in this case you could play it up since these are done in strips and I vary up the type of strips. You could alter these out as well. Have fun with it. But I'm going to start with either or of my trim colors, and I'm just going to start with the dark purple since I have the most of that. Sorry, I completely forgot to go over the details. I'm using a 4mm hook and 4-weight yarn. If you want it lighter and airier, you can use a lighter weight yarn and still go for a larger hook or change it up some if you want more, get it more chunky, up the yarn weight. But what we're going to do is chain 32. So you can, of course, vary this up a bit, but this is the base I'm working with. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 30, 32. So I got that. And now starting from the second from my hook, we are going to single crochet into those back loops. So you see how on the back side of the chain, you get this sort of spine bumps, focus, I don't know, about there. And just single crochet into those. I find they're easier to work with than the front loops because it's just one loop to worry about. As well as you get 2 finished sides, which makes either sewing or building off of it easier. Or if it was to be a raw edge, like if it was at the bottom of your work, it just looks neater. So this is just my go-to for how to work into chains. So go ahead and do that all the way across. All right, I've done my single crochets across, and now I'm going to color change to the main color. I was about to say character. And when I color change, whether it be within a row or at the end of a row, I like to do that last yarn over pull through with the next color that's coming up. So this will be the main color. My main color right now is multicolor, so bear with me. Go ahead and chain 3 and turn your work. Double crochet into your first stitch. And hold on, let me think. Yes, sorry, I just need to double check something. I'm going to show you what I do when I need to carry my yarns over because I'm going to need this purple. Next will be on this side. So you can either just snip it, work it in or weave it in, and then add a fresh yarn. I don't like doing that because it does end up with a lot of ends. So I'm going to show this in case you are interested. So let's double crochet into our first stitch like so. And I'm going to be working over this yarn and I'm trying to weave in these as I go. Now let's do a jasmine stitch. So that will be a loose chain, and then you're going to yarn over, and to start, we're inserting into this little pocket space between the double crochet and the chains. You can see there's a little yarn there that'll hold it secure. Yarn over, pull through. If you wanted to make this chunkier, you would do that a second time, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, but we're going to go a little less chunky on this one. Then you're going to yarn over, insert into where your stitch already is, the double crochet, yarn over, pull through. You see we got these 5 loops on our hook. Going to try to work around these guys. We're going to skip the next stitch and insert into this stitch here. Yarn over, pull through, so you should have 7 loops on your hook. Pinch the active yarn, so as you yarn over and pull through all your loops, and it may get caught in some fibers, so take your time and use your fingers to help it. You will end up with this loop here, and you can adjust it so you just have enough space to insert your hook into. Yarn over, pull through that loop and the loop on your hook, and that is your jasmine stitch. Now we're going to do it again, and this is more how it will look like throughout. Chain 1 loosely and insert into the center point here. You see how it's a little just a circle that we're working around? That's going to be the center of your flower. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, insert into your current stitch down here, pull through, yarn over, pull through, skip a stitch, and then work the same thing into the next stitch. Insert and pull through. So you'll have 7 loops on your hook as you pinch your yarn, yarn over, and pull through all your loops. Insert into that loop we created, yarn over, and pull through all the way. And I'm just going to secure this little end. Okay, I'll do it one more time with you. Chain 1 loosely, work into your center, work into your current stitch, skip a stitch, and insert into the next stitch. And you see I continue to work over this purple so that it will end up on the other side. Again, you don't have to do that part. Pinch your yarn, yarn over, and pull through all your loops. Insert into that loop you made, yarn over, and pull through all the way. Now continue to do that, and I'll pick up with you how we end off this strip. Okay, I have done jasmine stitch and ended in this last stitch, and thankfully my yarn is now at the end. And all I'm going to do is double crochet into that last stitch again. And as I come on that last yarn over, pull through, I'm going to carry up the yarn a bit, the purple yarn here. And now what I'm going to do is chain 2, turn my work, and I'm just going to place 1 petal into the first center point, and you can kind of poke around till you see like this, or you can either poke around till you see a circle, or notice how we have these bumps of petals. So the a petal will always be followed by a center. So find your first center, and let's place a petal there. So all we're going to do a single petal is yarn over, insert into your point, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops. Pinch your yarn, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Insert into that active yarn loop and pull through all the way. So it's always the same thing. It just depends how many petals you're doing. And then we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to do 2 petal jasmine stitch. So you're going to yarn over, insert into the same center, and this is what we're considering is going to be the top of a jasmine stitch in this pattern. You're going to skip the petal instead of skipping a stitch, and into the next center you're going to insert, yarn over, pull through till you have 5 loops. Yarn over, pull through all while pinching your yarn, insert into that yarn and pull through, and I'll show you that a few more times. So you'll chain 1, work into the first space, work into the next space, yarn over, pull through, insert into your active yarn loop, yarn over, and pull through all the way. And so you see how it's kind of developing this flower. I'll do 1 more, and you'll do that all the way across. Oops, I did a full jasmine stitch. Into the space, and chain 1, and so on. All right, I have done my last 2 petal stitch and ending into this last point here. And I'm not going to chain 1, I'm simply going to double crochet. You can either double crochet into here or here, depending what you would like. And that's that. And now I'm going to do a color change. So again, that last yarn over, pull through, I'm going to introduce the new yarn, which is this light purple pinkish color. All right, so I finished that off. Chain 1, turn our work. Now, basically, you want to make sure your single crochets match your bottom. And what I found helps me do that is I single crochet into the my double crochet point, and then single crochet 1 into the chain space here. And you can see I'm working over my tail, of course. And you're only going to really be working into the chain space, and then into almost all the following chain spaces, you're going to single crochet 2, until the last chain space. So let me get to that point. Again, just working into the chain spaces, not the little center points, just the chain spaces here. Okay, last 2 into my chain space, and then 1. Hold on, I'm going to bring up the purple yarn so I catch it with the back this yarn, and then drop this one to do a color change with that. So you're going to do 1 stitch into this last space. So that's 2 into all the chain spaces except the first one, and then you have 2 on the ends with like the double crochet and the chain space here, which is like representing a double crochet. That makes sense. Chain 1, turn your work. Now, in this pattern, the light pink is always going to start from this point and work in this direction, and then the opposite for here. So that always means that they're ending up on different sides than where they're always going to need to start. So that's why with the trims, I always work over them to bring them to their appropriate side. So once you have your chain 1, you are going to do a nice easy single crochet all the way across while working over your light purple trim. This one's nice and easy because it's nice and close. You can see how that looks up. You don't really see it through it. Beautiful. So just work single crochets all the way across. Right, I'm at the end, and of course I need to do a color change, and the main color is also here. You see right now all the colors are on this side of my work. This is nice and clean over here. So I'm bringing up the main color to finish that off, and then I'm going to chain 3 again. So I'm going to leave the purple there, and I'm going to be working over the light purple there, and I'm bringing over to work over the dark purple. Now we're going to do the exact same row as we did here. So what you're going to do is chain 3, turn your work, double crochet, and then start your jasmine stitches. And starting into that space between the double crochet and the chains, work your 3 petals and complete it like so. So work that all the way across. Okay, and you can see I've worked over my purple all the way here. I've ended the last jasmine stitch into the last stitch, and I'm just going to double crochet into that stitch as well. Oh, and bring up the purple yarn as I finish it off. Now from here, you're going to be working the jasmine stitch into, instead of doing our top row here, which allows for us to build off of it the single crochets, this is what you're going to do for the next sorry, I had to double check, next 2 rows. So you are going to chain 3, turn your work. You are going to double crochet into the first stitch as usual. Now you're going to do your jasmine stitch again, and the only difference, and I'm going to go just a little bit of difference instead of building it off of the stitches, when you want to work it into existing jasmine stitches. So you'll start as usual into that space between the double crochet and the chain, but instead of going directly into your double crochet stitch here, you want to look for your first center of your flower, which will be right next to it. So you'll work your second petal there, skip over that middle petal here and work into that next center point. So now you have your 3 petals. Pinch, yarn over, and pull through your loops. This one doesn't want to do that. Insert into your active yarn loop and pull through all the way. And from here, what you're just going to do is the jasmine stitch, chain 1 loosely, insert into your center up here, down into the center you're already working in so that the petal is already in, build another petal, skip over your mid petal here, this bump, and into the next one. And so you're just going to be going by working into centers essentially. So I'll show that one more time. Into the upper center, this lower center where you already have a stitch in, skip or just look for the next center essentially, and finish your jasmine stitch. Now work that all the way across. All right, I'm coming on the end. I worked the jasmine stitch into this last center-ish point, and then I'm just going to do a double crochet into that point, carrying up my light pink here, and then I'm going to repeat that exact row one more time. So I chain 3, a double crochet, and then work my jasmine stitches starting into not this spot but this spot, as you see, and I'm going to work that all the way across one more time. Okay, you can see it building up. I've done 2 rows of that, so I had 3 rows total, and now we just need a 4th row. So chain 3, let's turn our work. Actually, let's see if I can carry this color up further by doing that. All right, and now we're doing the same top. It's double crochet into the first stitch here. We're going to want to do a 2 petal starting in our current point, or actually let me work into the center here, and then skip the middle and into the next center. Finish it off. Make sure you hold your yarn so you get that, because if you don't, then you're just basically gathering stitches to form into one, but this gives a better definition for the petals. And to work into centers, you'll lose the center if you don't do that. Chain 1, and then do the 2 petals in the current center, find the next center, finish off, chain 1, and continue. Okay, and then after I've ended into that last point here, which is just the double crochet, I'm going to, hold on, let me carry this up. I'm going to double crochet into that, carrying up, so you see the pink coming up here. And now I need to color change. So the pink will actually come into play. Actually, hold on, I want this here. There we go. Chain 1, and let's turn our work. And you want to make sure you get 31 stitches into here. You can, again, I usually find either at the beginning or at the end I can't do a 2, and also sometimes you just find you misplaced. If things are getting a little wiggly along the sides, that is all right. We're going to be adding a trim, and it kind of covers any of that up. So this is kind of forgiving. But again, just make sure you are placing in single crochets. I like to start into the double crochet, find the chains, and work into those. I usually do 2s, and if I need to, I'll add 1 to make sure things match up as 31, while also single crocheting into the last like chain space or the double crochet, sorry. So go ahead and do that. And as I come up on that last single crochet, I am picking up the darker purple trim color, chaining 1, turning my work, and I'm going to work the second color back over while carrying over the light purple here. And you'll just want to like double check that your count is indeed 31. If you're off or by 1 or anything, just add it in or subtract. So just single crochet across, while carrying that light color. And again, if you don't want to deal with that, just trim it and weave it in. All right, and at the end, we're going to need another color change. So I'm bringing in the main color. I'm going to do the chain 3, turn to work, and I'm going to carry the purple while starting. We're starting again from this point, and we're going to basically repeat from here where we start the main color flowers and repeat up to this point. You're going to make this as long as you want. You're going to alternate between these two lengths, or if you don't want to do that, pick one. And just kind of have fun with it. And the only note is that when you're going to make it as long as you want, I made one that was fairly short, so it's mostly around, let me bring you up. It goes mostly around the neck, as you can see, and it's going to have a twist. Well, I'll show you, of course, how we do that, but just a note to end on the light purple, or end on your second trim color, not the one you started with. So when you're going to end, you're not going to do this trim, but you're going to want to repeat this. And you can end on any trim point, so you don't necessarily have to have it. Ideally, I think you'd want to have it a lighter, the thinner strip, thicker strip, thinner strip, right? But if you don't, if that's actually throwing off your desired length, adjust it, do what you want. But yeah, so you're going to just keep repeating that as you go until you get the length you desire. And I'll pick up with you when we're ready to connect it. Okay, so you can see what I've done here. This is the entirety of it. I did it a little longer this time. I think I did an extra repeat, and I ended on the first trim color here, or my light color, so that here it's going to match up and evenly go over. So you'll see also the pattern repeat. I have the long strip, and it's going to go into the small strip and then repeat around beautifully. Now I bound off, I cut off the main color in this color. I should have left this color on. I forgot that would be better for our purposes, but oh well. So what I'm going to do, I left this one on, and I'm going to cut enough to sew with. So I think about that should be good enough. And we're still going to need this color, or whichever trim color you want your outer trim to be, because you have these edges, which would be fine if I didn't have kind of carryovers. We're going to clean those up with a trim. But first, what we need to do is fold your piece over flat like this, and then you're going to take one side and turn it and then match it up. So you have one curve. So this is going to create, I forget what it's called, but just each of the edges are just going to loop around to each other. You'll find that out when we do the trim. But for now, I'm going to grab my tapestry needle. I'm going to thread this. All right, now let's bring you down. I'll bring this over. I'm going to flip it carefully so that the sides are still attached together, and you can use the sewing method of your choice. You see how it's down here? I'm going to bring it up to the first stitch here, and what I like to do, I forget if it's called the invisible stitch or not, but it helps to line it up very evenly. So I'll show you how I do it. So from this opposing side, I'm going to work into the next sides. So what I'm going to do is work from like the outside in to that first loop, and then inside out on the next loop that's also facing this side. You see that there. And then we're going to go to this loop again. I'm sorry, the loop now facing the inner side. Going to insert into it from the outside from here, and then out through the next, making sure I don't catch that loop. I'm going to pull the yarn. Now we're going to go back into the loop that we came out of on this side. So we're going to go in and then out of the next one, like so, and then into the previous one here where the loop is coming out of the next one. Then we're going to repeat that into the one we already have a loop coming out of and out through the next one. At this point, I'm going to tighten my yarn tension and continue into the previous one, out of the next one, like so, into the yarn that the yarn's coming out of the next one. And then again, tighten, and then I'm going to keep going. So you see how it stacks them on top of each other this way, and you don't see kind of the yarns going through like that. So I'm going to continue doing that all the way across, and then I'll pick up with you for the trim. All right, I've come to the end, and so you see how they're all stacked up. One note to make is, at least in my case, these were looser than these because they were my foundation chain, and they were a little tighter, but they still lined up because they were the same number. And at this point, they just line up and it kind of spread pretty evenly. So I'm just going to tuck my thread kind of through here to secure it a bit. And then I'm going to kind of weave it back because I just kind of like to work over it. I find that's my preferred way to ensure there's going to be no loose ends. And then I'll just cut it short. So if I'd been smart and used this color to seam it up, then I could pick up my purple to now do the trim. But I was not smart. So I shall, instead of picking up, I shall add in the yarn. All right, need to scoot things. So let's turn it to face us where we want to work. Bring in our yarn, and I'll start wherever. I'm going to start at like this easy point of trim, a little bit before the seam. Chain one, going to single crochet into there, and then I'm going to single crochet my way all the way around. And what you'll notice is since we have that twist, you're going to start here, and then you're just going to keep going, and you're going to end up back here. It's very cool. So you'll single crochet. I do about 3 single crochets across the span of, like, say, these two jasmine stitches. So I would do about 6 across here, unless you want more. That's on you. I'm just using the same 4mm hook so that it shouldn't tighten too much. And so I'm just going to, single crochet all the way around, and then we are going to be done. So have fun with that, and I'll see you when we're finished. And as you can see, I've been working all the way around, just single crocheting, and I now am meeting up with my original stitch. So I'm going to slip stitch into there to join, cut my yarn, and then just weave that in, and then I am done with this cowl. I think it looks beautiful. I love the multicolor yarn through it. I think that was very fun to do, and now I have the full set. And I shall show you the set, so in case you're interested in doing the set or doing one of the other items, I have both written patterns and tutorials for those, and I'll link them in the description if you are interested. All right, we have the cowl, so you can wear that either around the neck or as a hood. It's beautiful that way. But if you're wearing it around your neck, perhaps you want a cat ear beanie with a folded edge. I love that one. And then we have a fingerless gloves to go along with it. Oh, I'm missing a nail, but I like how they match. So yeah, that is the set. If you want either of the other patterns, they are available. And I hope that tutorial was fair enough explanation for you. There is a written pattern if you want to work along with that, along with, again, these other ones. So let me know. And if you make your own, do tag me on Instagram or TikTok at Once Upon a Stitch Nook so I can see your finished work. Have a great day and happy crocheting.